Gretch, you bring up your dad with that advice you said about if you're the first to do something. I know your dad he's doing okay. Gret's declining a little bit. I've been at your house at 42 Verardi.
Yeah.
And people always inquire about this, but I was shocked. I've spent lots of time there with you, and you said, wait till you see what happens here over the next hour when we got up on a Saturday morning. And every 10 minutes, people are, and they don't believe this, Gretz, but people are knocking at your father's door, literally.
Literally, and he's so nice. One time, I will tell you a great story. One time I came home, when I walked in, I always surprise my dad when I come home, because he tells everybody if I'm coming home, and so I don't really get quiet moments with him. So one time I walked into the house, and there's this guy lying on the couch. And I walk in, I look at the guy, and I kind of know who comes in and out. And I said to my dad, who's that guy? And he goes, oh, that's Paul from Newfoundland. I go, well, who's he? He goes, well, he's hitchhiking across the country. He had nowhere to stay, so I let him sleep over tonight. Nowhere to lie. And I just said, oh, my Lord. When my mom was alive, she would keep it in sort of perspective. She would let kids come in, and they'd go downstairs and put jerseys on and that sort of thing. But my dad, he's just so fun-loving. He loves people.
Greatest.
Yeah, he loves people to come over. We went home. They were doing a statue at the local rink where I grew up playing of our family. So everybody knew I was going to be in town. So I called my brother Brent, who's a police officer. I said, listen, put 2 unmarked cars at the house, one in front of the house and one on the other side of the house.
Right.
I said, just make sure, we get some time alone at home. Well, sure enough, my dad says to me about 12 hours into being there, geez, I don't know where everybody is. Nobody's coming around the house. Because we were stopping people. And I didn't have the heart to tell my dad, well, we're blocking people. So he just loves people coming by. That's his life. That's who he is, and he'll never change.
Yeah. He's so cool. Over the years that we've been together, you and me and him, I mean, one of the funniest things ever was we were at a restaurant in Edmonton, and they were serving fondue, Russ, and right, and Wayne and I are sitting beside Walter, and Walter goes, "I'm starving, Wayne. I'm starving. When's the food going to come out?" And they lay down the raw meat, to boil in the oil, and Gretz elbows me and goes, "Watch this." And Walter fires into the raw meat and puts it in his mouth and goes,
no.
"Do you remember that, Gretz?" And he goes, "It's a little chewy, Wayne."
Yeah. And then he goes, well, what is this? I said, Dad, you got to cook it yourself. He said, why didn't we stay home and cook?
and photographs, Gretz. He used to carry around. If we take a picture.
Yeah. He every All-Star game, every player and their parents would come to me. Back in those days, we'd have a Monday night charity dinner, and then Tuesday the game. And Monday night, my dad would take pictures of all the players and their wives and parents. And inevitably, every year they would come up to my dad, and my dad would have his tux on, and he'd have about an 8-inch thing in his pocket of pictures, and he'd go, "Here's yours, Mr. Babbage. Yeah. Here's yours, Mr. Coffee. Here's yours." I mean, they would go right to him, and they knew he would have those pictures. So that was his thing. He loved it.
I don't know, Gretz, if I've ever told you the story, but during the Gretzky tour we went on, and during the lockout in Europe, was that 94, 95?
94.
94.
November 94.
99 All-Stars, right?
There we go.
So Paris couldn't come, and you could bring your spouse or whatever. So I brought a friend, Brian Turner, and anyways, during the days, I would go for a walk with Walter and George, his best
right,
his best friend, right?
Charlie.
Charlie.
It's like George, but it's Charlie.
Yeah, sorry. So Charlie. We would walk through these old towns in Europe and talk. And I just love Walter. And I lost my dad at 13, and so I just wanted to go hang out with Walter and just talk to him. And so we would talk and walk around, look at the sights, and he was starting to remember things, like when you came out to Victoria and went fishing with the $6 Million Man and Jeff.
Yeah.
And I talked to him about that because he had his aneurysm in 91. And things were coming back to him on these walks. And so like every day I'm like, hey, Walter, I want to go for a walk. And we'd talk, and he would say, oh, I forgot about that. I remember. Yeah, now I remember. And so it was so cool for me to just reminisce with Walter, walk around and hear him remember things that he had forgotten about, and the Canada Cup and that we played together in.
He wears his Canada Cup ring. He's so proud of it. That's his sort of go-to. It makes him feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
You know I'm a crier, Gretz.
Oh.
And
no.
yeah, I'm a crier. Yeah,
okay.
I'm a crier. Yeah, you know
Well, that's why you have a cat.
Yeah. You did this commercial, and I ended up weeping like a child recently over the last few months.
Oh.
With your dad.
Yeah.
I believe it was Tim Hortons you did the ad for. I had heard, Gretz, that they wanted to have a stand-in for your father, and you stepped in and said no, because your dad has Parkinson's, which people know now, and you said no about that.
Well, Tim Hortons was really worried about my dad. They didn't want him working too long of a day. We'd been there for a few hours, and they said, we can have somebody, and we can Photoshop it or whatever you want to call it, videotape somebody carrying the box over. And both my brother Glenn and I decided, look, you can't do that. People know my dad has Parkinson's. Plus, my dad would be disappointed if he got replaced in his mind.
Right.
So we sort of said, look, let's change the shooting of the commercial, do him, because we want to make it authentic. We want to show people that it's really my dad. It was his autograph. He was the one who got it. He was the one who kept it. And we didn't want somebody else carrying the autograph, right? And they were coming from a really good place. They meant well. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we wanted to make sure it was about my dad, because that's the basis of Canada and the commercial, is that it's real. He didn't do it to make money off the autograph. He did it to enhance his son's life, and that's why my mom and dad took me there.
Yeah.